What's going on, everyone? It is Monday night. It is 8 o'clock Eastern. That means it is time for our weekly Tropics Watch Live. And I wish that I could say that, hey, we're recapping the season as we get ready to wind things down. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. We have at least one more to go in this extremely busy and extremely impactful 2024 hurricane season. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Love to see you. Hit that subscribe button for us if you happen to find this content helpful and want to join the best weather community on YouTube and on social media that there is with meteorologist David Nazario and myself. We welcome you tonight. All right, I think we're back. All right, so I totally just knocked out the cord, I guess, and that's what happened. Okay, so welcome again to everybody that's joining in. So what I was saying before is the one main thing so far that I've seen in the comments is that the water is too cool for tropical development. In the Caribbean, that's certainly not the case. We'll take a look at all that jazz in just a little bit. But the Caribbean is still juiced. We are so back. Hold on a second. We are so back. My guy, my brother, Weather Center Rosario, on the stream. He's hanging out with the fam. He was live with you guys this morning. He'll, of course, be live again tomorrow, crushing it, keeping it down, holding it down. But we're so back, as he said. Let's see here. Welcome. That's right, Rodney. Yeah, that's the one thing. Let me see if I have it somewhere in here. If you are somebody that has a million tabs, a person that has a lot of tabs open, that's me. So it's the same thing in my weather show here. I've got a bunch of things open, so I can't remember where I put it, but I know I have it somewhere in here. The heat content map, because that's going to be the most important thing. So here are the water temperatures first and foremost. So let me show you that. So this is just the straight up water temperature. And we're going to roll this back around. And of course, this is the area that we're focused on, because this is going to be the area that we are watching for likely tropical development once we get into next week. So let's take our little dabber. You need about 80 degrees for a tropical storm to develop and then sustain and strengthen. And it is plenty warm where the disturbance is right now. It's in the mid to even upper 80s. And anywhere we kind of test is, Don't like that. It's in the most of it is in the middle 80s. Now, the Gulf of Mexico, you can kind of see the loop current where it gets real dark. It's kind of like right up in through here. That's where we still have the big time juice. And again, kind of take a mental picture of where this is, because whenever we take a look at whenever we take a look at some of the ensembles, I'm alluding to that the system could do something like this or like that or like that. So it's going to be the same area again. And that is what climatology would also suggest. Things lifting up from the Caribbean into the Gulf this time of the year or into the extreme Southwest Atlantic. So all things considered, now look how warm it is still here. Low to mid 80s. That is plenty warm. The only spot where it starts to get a little, and even that has warmed up, it's right off the shelf, but still in this area, it is still plenty warm. Now, the one thing that has changed a little bit for the Gulf, let's look at that was the straight up water temperature, but I want to show you kind of the anomaly. And that is the concern right there, that again, while we still have water temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s off the coast of Florida, but we are way above. I mean, that's 2 degrees Celsius. That's putting it about 6-ish degrees Fahrenheit above normal off the Florida coast into the Gulf Stream or into the loop current. And then same down here, we're above normal in the Caribbean, where it is typically in the lower 80s. We're more like the mid to upper 80s. And then one thing I want to show you before we get into some of the modeling to kind of put that story to bed is the tropical fuel, the heat content. This is the craziest thing right here. So anywhere it is orange to red to rust, that is where we not only have the extremely warm sea surface temperatures, but it is warm and it is deeply warm. So that if we do get a storm there, and we likely will, and it churns up the cooler water, as the water beneath the surface isn't all that cool. So the more red the graphic, or the more red the water is right here from the map that I'm showing you, the higher potential we have, the more fuel we have for the storm to work with, given other environmental factors, which I'm going to show you that in a little bit. It does not look like we're going to have a ton of wind shear. You will see here the color table drop out as we get up here. It turns to green and then blue, and then again, it's even. So we have improved things a little bit, but I mean, at that point, that's going to be too little too late if we were able to get something on the stronger side. So I just wanted to show that, because I know that narrative was around for Raphael, that the water was not warm enough to support tropical development, and it is, unfortunately. I wish we could be talking about Thanksgiving at this time. Okay, so, and honestly, for really anybody from the Yucatan to Belize to Central America, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Cuba again, Florida, the Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas, we're all going to be under the gun here. We're going to be looking for that general area. I'm going to bust out the handy dandy telestrator on my other computer, and really, I would put it really anywhere in here. And I'm going to play through the ensembles, a fast developing system, which we think is unlikely at this time. We'll have the opportunity to just go up and race out with this dip in the jet stream right here. One that takes a little bit longer to materialize in the Western Caribbean, that's going to have the greater potential to come up and over. So those are really the two modes, and certainly we could have something like that as well. Let me delete all this mumbo jumbo, and let's get to it. So if we take this further out in time, notice how, and by the way, if you're not aware of what ensembles are, all those teeny tiny red numbers that you see in there, that's the individual ensemble member. When you see it get yellow and orange, that means that we have a very big consensus of the ensemble members hinting at something. Now, ensembles are the best thing to use at this time because that's when humans come in and they put, the meteorologists will put in their own initial conditions because we just don't have a lot of data. We don't have a center formed yet. Um, but, but nonetheless, it gives us kind of the range of outcomes. And then once we do get the center and we do get the hurricane hunters flying into this thing, that's whenever we get the data and then the individual models that we all know and love. That's whenever we get a little more credibility into that. All right, so let me show you the kind of meanders, and you'll notice something weird happen. You'll notice that it kind of splits. And what I was kind of talking about before, at least this is the Euro, wants to put a camp going in that direction, and then another round going in that direction. So let me take this back off and I'll take this out further in time. And you see that loop the loop. Notice how the orange becomes more yellow and we get the numbers to spread out because we do get a little bit more uncertainty as we go further out into the future. And by the way, this is going to be Saturday, November 16th, where we're likely going to have a tropical depression at least forming in about this ballpark. So again, that's in about 5-ish days. And then as we go towards the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, that's where we're really going to have to watch kind of that area if it doesn't take the first train out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about with the steering current in just 1 second. We're going to go to the Canadian ensembles now, and it shows the same thing. It has that little appendage kind of butting off of the ensembles and moving north, but you'll notice there's not as many members here on the Canadian model ensemble that want to do that. While it's not a 0% chance, there's also a little thing kind of down in here that the main disturbance is going to try to kind of gel with. So that when there's always competing things for centers, typically it takes a little bit longer for that to organize and to consolidate and things like that. So I would be right now favoring the Western Caribbean potential lifting up from the Gulf in that direction. At this time anyway. Again, it's about 7 to 10 days away. And we do have to think about our friends in the Caribbean. Again, this is going to be the 17th and 18th. We could be dealing with stuff in the Cayman Islands, Belize, the Yucatan, Central America, certainly, Cuba, possibly. And then you see it go up and then lift in. Okay, so just remember that hook coming up around the Yucatan and then coming toward Florida. Okay. If it's going to be the United States, if the United States is impacted, unfortunately, Florida is the only state in play here because of the jet stream. So I think everybody else along the Gulf Coast, certainly Texas, most of Louisiana, we might be able to get it as far west as Mississippi or Alabama. But it's likely going to be the eastern half of the Gulf if it chooses to go into the Gulf. And I mean, at this point, again, I think that's going to be the higher the likelihood of solutions. I'll show you one more ensemble run. And I mean, same kind of deal. This is the 12Z. I'll show you the 18Z, but you see it again. It wants to kind of shoot the gap here into the middle and do something like that, which is also in the realm of possibility. So that's where the uncertainty is going to lie. The 18Z GFS ensembles absolutely went bonkers here. And again, this is going to be November the 19th through the 20th. With it wants a system somewhere in between the Florida Straits, the Keys, Southwest Florida. So again, that's what we're going to be dealing with. Now, I wanted to show you that and kind of burn that into your mind because we're going to go to the upper level pattern. Some people in the chat have mentioned it. We talked about it earlier that let's back this train up. Where are we? What's today's date? Today's the 11th. It is Veterans Day. By the way, anybody on the stream who's a veteran, thank you for your service and for being on the stream and just for everything that you've done. of course, my partner in crime, my brother, Weather Center Nazario, David Nazario, serves this country as well. So thank you to him and for all of his meteorological knowledge that he has brought to this growing weather community. So if you're finding us for the first time, hit that subscribe button as well. Okay, so here's where we stand today. I want to go out to the weekend because that's whenever things start to get a little interesting. So this is going to be dip in the jet stream number 1. Let me go. This is going to be dip in the jet stream number 1. So if the storm were to get its act together quick, there is its ride out. That's what it would feel. It would go up and bam, out of here. We would have to worry about some flooding in eastern Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, but that would stay away from the United States. Here's the deal, though. If it misses that ride out, we have kind of this ridge building in, which allows it to kind of chill right here. By the way, we're looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere. There is a lot of outflow right in through here. Big upper anticyclone just chilling on the thing. There's not going to be a lot of wind shear. So we have the water, we have the wind shear, or the lack thereof. Again, this is why we're confident that a storm is going to develop here. Somewhere in the Western Caribbean. It's where it goes. So here is then the other thing that pushes it. You see this big jet streak screaming out here in the plains. That is going to be the next thing. So let me take this further out. And by the way, we're looking, there's the surface low. And then let's see, we're on Wednesday the 20th. This is going to be the thing that would kick it over. So there's 2 troughs. The first one, if this thing gets strong fast, like by Sunday, Monday, it's going to feel that trough and go out. That was a little aggressive. That's not going to be up that far north, but you get my picture. Then it's kind of, here we go on Saturday, Sunday, and that time we have the thing right there, and it's in between that trough and that trough. So it's kind of just chilling there. So we'll have to watch to see if it slows down any. And then this is going to be the jet stream that guides it to the east. It would have to really change and really stall there to miss that one, because this is an aggressive dip, and that should snatch the thing and pull it right out. So the point that I'm trying to make is, if it misses its first ride out, it's likely going to be a U.S. issue. And if it's a U.S. issue, it's likely going to be a Florida thing. There is still the opportunity, like we talked about, that it kind of comes up through here. But if it misses its first ride out, then that's where we have Central America in play, Belize in play, the Yucatan, the western tip of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and then, of course, South Central Florida, and then out to the western Bahamas. So this would all be in play. Let me redraw that. This is who we're going to be watching for if it misses its first ride out, and then we would be that would be over the weekend. So good question here. We're going to pull that up. When would that first ride out be again? So we're going to go back to the model here, and there it is on Saturday. That's Friday, and then into Saturday. So let's go back to the European Ensemble, and you'll see that kind of guide to the east. So that's going to be Sunday morning right there. And then you see half of where that little orange area right here starts to go away. That's the Ensemble members that are favoring that solution. It's in the minority, can't throw it out, but it's in the minority. But that's going to be Sunday. So really, by the second half of the weekend, we should know if it takes that train out of here or not. And if it doesn't, then it's likely, I mean, there's no other way for it to go. It's going to be that other trough is going to pick it up. It's just then we have to figure out the timing nuances, if it's going to be like that, like that, like that, or like that. Somewhere in that general thinking over there. Um, and then, of course, we'll have a storm by that time. The upper jet stream features will be in our weather balloon networks. We'll be able to sample that better, get a better gauge on how sharp that trough is, how fast it's moving, things like that. But yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Um, and all that stuff. So Rob brings up a good point, and we have a more active jet as well that would also enhance any kind of tornado threat. I think you mentioned about, uh, I wouldn't. I It's gonna. I think by this point we're gonna be done. Um, let's go to. Let me bring up the. I got to go out to the world view here because I want to show you the MJO. We should have a little. This is going to be on December 2nd. I mean, that's through Christmas or just about up until Christmas, and we don't get help from the MJO again. I wouldn't be surprised if we got something probably messy in the North Atlantic, but I would have to think that this is kind of the last one. This one could be significant. Um, it could be a significant one. Modeling once it rough again. It's got pristine upper air and it's got a lot of fuel to work with. Um, the difference between the GFS and Euro model, it's going to be different computers. It's going to be different physics and math equations that are put into it, and it kind of handles things a little different because of that. So that's what kind of all the different models are. There's different math and physics equations that go into it, different grid scales, things like that, different resolutions, and all that stuff. And Rodney brings up a great point here, and unfortunately, he's right. He said if it misses the first ride out, it will sit in the Caribbean much longer and have a chance to get much stronger in that hot water. Absolutely. Um, I mean, yeah, for the people that are saying there's a lot of people Southwest Florida. I mean, certainly, and this has been another one of the top comments that we've seen during this live stream. And thank you guys for bringing the questions and comments. You guys are what makes this stream awesome and this weather community awesome. And if you're finding us for the first time, by the way, welcome. If you like what you are seeing, I mean, I know that we don't like talking about a tropical system in November or anytime. Certainly when they threaten land, uh, hit that subscribe button. We always love to welcome new people, and kind of we like to fight back some of the misinformation and fear tactics on this channel. That's why we're here, to do all of that. Unfortunately, Raphael didn't do anything for the heat content, and this is why all that red, and the reason why Raphael didn't do anything, it's because it's all red there. That's the deep warm water. So even when it's over and it churns over that water for a long period of time, it's really not upwelling a ton of cool water, because that water beneath the surface is go it's still very, very warm. And you'll see I have the water temperature anomaly graphic in here. I was showing this earlier. It really didn't. I mean, we're still, with the alone exception of like that spot right here, the Gulf and the Atlantic is still, it's still way above normal. Unfortunately, it's crazy. We will, with that said, we'll see. We have a cold front coming through the deep south, through Florida into the Gulf, Thursday into Friday. So that would help to lower the Gulf waters a little bit, maybe helping to knock it down a little bit by the time, cool the water a little bit by the time it moves up into this direction. If it does, remember, there's still we gotta watch to see if it ends up consolidating here quickly and then going up and out. That is still in the realm of possibilities. We just think um, that at least at this time, given the limited data that we have, there's two pieces kind of coming together. It it might take its time, and when it takes its time, it might miss that ride out. It's got to get a little stronger to feel that um, through. So we shall see. Melissa, I did not see your comment. K-pop lover, I've not really looked at anything. If there's something in December, it's likely not going to threaten land. So that is all good. We like them when they are out. We like them when they're out at sea. When we can look at the beautiful satellite pictures when they're not hitting anything. What storm was it this year? Remind me. It had the crazy eye. It was out in the middle of nowhere, hit nothing. Bonus points. Bonus points if you remember what storm that was. The name is escaping me at this time. Hey, we love that. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. Not at the moment. Unfortunately, not at the moment. It was Kirk. It was Kirk. That's right. And it curved. Thanks, buddy. It was Kirk. Thanks, guys. We got a couple of people. Aaron, love it. All this stuff. It is. It's crazy. I know David and I were talking about this on our first live streams when we were together. We had talked about this, that it's like, be careful what you wish for, because a lot of people had with the crazy preseason forecasts that were out there, and we had basically nothing through the peak of hurricane season. There was literally a lid over the Atlantic, and as soon as we saw the seasonal changes removing that lid or layer of warm air aloft, that was part of it. The other part of it, the MJO, this pulse that's really helping the back half of this season, I get forced up, that was held back in the peak of hurricane season. So there were a couple of reasons that we documented on why we had nothing, but we cautioned that unfortunately this was happening, and we were likely going to have a super active October, continuing the first part of November, and here we go. Literally, we could be talking about something threatening here as we get into the weekend leading up to Thanksgiving. So it's wild. It is wild. Absolutely. No, and that's why, we talk about, that's why we like them out in the middle of nowhere, so we can just like sit back and watch the science, watch the meteorology unfold, and all that stuff. Mimi hit the nail on the head with this one. Definitely found a piece of gold. He is the man. We have a great time. It could be. I mean, it could take a path similar to Wilma. Maybe not another Wilma. That would be crazy to be able to get something that shot down to the 980s, especially at this point in the season. I mean, but at this point, I wouldn't put anything past all that through. I don't think it would head up the east coast of Florida, but as somebody just mentioned, I think Rob, if it does come in on the west coast of Florida, then it's coming across the entire peninsula. Just reading some comments. Aaron says, wouldn't be surprised to see a December storm this year. Me either. The water is crazy. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's still crazy warm off of New York. Now, for my snow lovers, I mean, that would be an explosion right here if we could get a nice little nor'easter come December or January. That'd be awesome. Low pressure riding up like this, finding that warm water, bam, bombing out as we call it. That would wreck the 95 corridor with snow, given that there's cold air. And unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a ton of cold air in the Northeast this year. That's getting a little off topic. And now we have made it to 8:30. Alrighty, guys. Hey, I want to thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Tropics Watch Live. Meteorologist Dave Nazario back here in the morning, and he's going to have the latest on this. Remember, it is too soon to know where this is going. It's kind of too early to put people on alert. But here's the deal. There's a lot of confidence that the Central America, like that bubble that I drew, that this is something to just keep in the back of your mind in this area, and then a little bit right in through here. I think there's a greater chance that it goes, whoops, I'm drawing all this stuff when I have the wrong source up. I think there's a higher probability that it goes west than it does shoot off to the north and east, but that still remains to be seen, and we'll know more about that once we get past the weekend. Obviously, don't want to root a storm for anybody. When you get a storm in the Caribbean, it's hard for it not to hit anything, though. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Alrighty, guys. Hey, do me a favor. If you're finding us for the first time, post in the comments. Would love to know where you're tuning in from. If you are finding us, if you're watching us, a returning visitor and haven't subscribed, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button. We like to call ourselves like the misinformation or fear-mongering warriors. Just made that up right now. We like to fight that stuff, okay? There's a lot of garbage out there. And we are all about sound science and meteorology, and to give you guys the heads up and kind of nerd out with you all. And most of the people on this stream love the weather, and we like to provide kind of that source and kind of that outlet to have a conversation and to get real nitty gritty as we do across the board. So it's great having all you guys here. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button. Thanks, Melissa. Appreciate you, my brother. I will catch you tomorrow. That's what we're gonna come up with something a little more fancy. The no fear mongering warriors. Hurricane Milton had that crazy face. Hold on to your butts. That's gonna be the motto here for the end of this hurricane season. Just crazy. It's just like I'll put it like your hockey team plays in the Stanley Cup Finals or something, then it's already like training camp. Unfortunately, that's what it's going to feel like again for Florida, and we're going to get to the end of this hurricane season, and then we're already going to have to start getting ready for the next one. I know all my friends that were here back in 2004 know what the heck I'm talking about, because that one was a long and tiring hurricane season. Let's just hope that this one gets out of here. All right, guys, going to do some stuff. Hit that subscribe button. We will catch you soon. Tomorrow morning, in fact. Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch you later. Be safe.